Hi everyone, it's Anne here again. As promised in a previous video, I was going to cover a box and show you how I did it, so that if you wanted to make this box, or any box actually, a more permanent feature or more attractive, you can do it quite easily. So this is the box that I've been using to present Witchcraft Do You Do lace collections and things in. And if you have a box like this, we're simply going to take it apart. So after you've removed the contents, this is what you'll be left with. Now we need to do a couple of things. We need to cut down here where the box side is joined. I'll just go down there with a knife. Same on the other side. Cut through the glue. Like that. I need to pop this open. Like that. And you'll see that the box becomes perfectly flat when you've done that. Now there's some pieces on here that we don't need. So I'm just going to use this pen and mark the ones that we don't need, that we're going to cut off. So we're going to get rid of this, and this, and this, and oh no, we keep that one, sorry, keep that one, get rid of that one, keep that one, get rid of that one, and just this one along here, get rid of that one. So what we're left with is 1, 2, 3, 4 walls and a top and a bottom. Sorry, that's not fitting on the camera very well, but anyway, I'll trim it off and I'll show you. So what we're left with is just the 4 walls and the lid, like that. The next thing I'm going to do is get a piece of fabric. I'm going to use this fabric here and spread it out on my table. Like that. Okay, and then bring back in the box. Just hope you can see that. Enough of it that it makes sense. And you could draw around it, or you could mark it in some way, but I'm just going to eyeball it. And what I want to do is to cut around the box shape, but leaving it about just over 1 centimetre wider than the box. So as I say, I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Okay, so what I've got now is a piece of fabric that's approximately 1 centimetre all the way around, bigger than the box. And where the corners are, I'm just going to make a little diagonal cut. Need to turn it round again. Just there, there, oops, there. So when I turn it over, I can go in both directions of the cardboard box because I've got this diagonal cut into the box. Okay, now I'm going to use some hot glue because it dries instantly or thereabouts, and it doesn't really matter where you start. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the edge of the box like that, and then fold over the fabric onto the glue. It's always handy to have a bowl of cold water around when you do this in case you burn your fingers, so you can plunge them into the cold water and it doesn't burn so much. So I've done one side, I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to do the other side here. Okay, we'll keep going. Along here. Now when you get to the corner, you can just fold it over neatly. Put a little bit of extra glue on there, just to finish off the corner, like that. See that? It wasn't cut far enough into the corner. Okay. And along there. Do the other side. Now, of course, you don't have to just do this with fabric. You could do it with paper if you wanted to. I just like to use the fabric. extra bit on the corner there. Okay. Oh, I've done these 2 bits. So I need another glue stick. Okay, so now I've got all the edges turned over and glued down, and that's what it looks like from the other side. Now I'm going to line it with paper, and it's a little bit poking up there. Just fix that. Right, as I said, I'm going to line it with paper, and I've used a piece of 12 by 12 and was like a half piece of 12 by 12 because I didn't have a piece big enough to do this whole thing in one. So what I did, I just got a piece of 12 by 12 and it was a smaller piece. Make sure it's long enough to cover your box. And I just glued it together with a little bit of double-sided sticky tape. And then lay the whole thing on top of the paper, and using a marker or a pen or something, draw around it like that. Okay, and we've got the size that we need, but we just want to make it slightly smaller. So I'm going to cut it on the inside of the line, just by a few centimetres. I can always trim off more later if I need to. I'll just cut this out. Bring the box back in, and I've got a piece that should be about the right size, slightly smaller so it doesn't stick out over the edges, but as I say, if it does you can trim it off. Okay, now I'm going to get some glue, and I'm just going to put some glue all over it. Use PVA or whatever you have, something that will stick paper and fabric and card. Okay. I'm going to put that down on top. Line it up as best I can. Okay. So now I've got that stuck down. Now I might have to go around the edges with a little bit of different glue. I'm going to use this glitter glue because it's nice and strong. And just go around the very edge, just to make sure that my edges are nice and secure. Okay, and just to help me get it flat down, I'm going to use a brayer. Okay, now we have to let this dry. So I'm going to be back shortly when this is dried and show you the next step. Okay, well I'm back now. This is completely dry. And I did put it under a couple of heavy books till it dried to keep it nice and flat. So all that's left to do is to make sure there's none of the paper showing on the other side, which I have a little bit here. So I'm just going to trim these edges. Okay, and now we just start to put it together. And all we're going to do is fold the walls back up like that, so it's back into a box shape, and I'm going to do that by just sewing up the corners. Now if you didn't use fabric and you just used paper on both sides, then you could just do this part with gluing on a bit of washi tape. You wouldn't need to sew it if you're not into sewing. So yeah, just consider that if you just do it all in paper, it's probably easier just to glue a bit of washi tape up the sides here. Just doing a few little stitches. And I'll just do a couple of extra stitches at the top just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then, so I don't have a thread hanging, I'm going to go in under the fabric and pop out that an inch further along like that, and then trim that off there, and the end will disappear under the fabric. Okay, so we've got one wall done. I'll do the other 3 and I'll be back to show you. Okay, I've done the other corners, so we now have a box that's completely covered with fabric on the outside and paper on the inside. The only thing to do to complete it is to put a little fastener on it. So for that I've got a couple of chipboard reinforcement rings and a couple of pearly brads. I'm going to just measure where the middle is. So it's about 8.5, so 4 1/4. That there. Okay, so I've marked where the middle is. I'm just done it with a chalk mark. Just going to punch out a hole. Right. And one on this side. Okay, and then take the brad and the reinforcement ring, put that through, like that, and one on the other side. Of course, if you didn't want to use brads, you could use anything as a fastener. You could even just put a tassel on it if you didn't want to punch through the cardboard. Okay, so I've got my 2 little pieces on. Now I've got some embroidery floss here. I can find the end. Where? Just get a piece of that. Just slide it underneath the cardboard if I can. Tie a little knot. Tie a knot in the other end, and then I can just wrap that around like that to close it. Alright, so there we have it, box. Now if you want to, you could decorate the tops. I've got this applique here that I found. I might end up putting that on the top as well, just to finish it off. But anyway, the ideas are endless. Alright, well that's just how to turn an ordinary box into a more permanent fixture. And you can do that with any box. It doesn't have to be a post box. It can be a box that you've had food in or something from your pantry. You just have to open it flat, cut off the pieces you don't want, cover them, and then refold the flaps and stitch or glue them together. Alright, I thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon in the next video. Have fun crafting. Bye for now.